Hi folks, welcome to our latest episode of 20 Questions, where you get to put the questions you've always wanted to one of the Dundalk players or staff. Delighted to say for this episode we're joined by Brian Gartland. Garts, how are you keeping during the lockdown? Strange times for everybody?
Yeah, strange times, but keeping well, keeping busy and training away every day. We're not short of work to do anyway off the pitch.
I believe you had some Zoom yoga. You only have to finish up on that. Is that part of the new normal, is it?
Yeah, this evening we started last week doing a bit of yoga, which was good. I suppose I was a bit sleep deprived last night, so I fell asleep at the end of it. I woke up and everyone was gone.
Everybody logged off, as is the case nowadays. Yeah. Strange times. I spoke to Chris Shields earlier on. I suppose a bit frustrating that you're due to be back on Monday, but it's put back to June the 8th. I suppose these are all probably just raring to get back into some sort of normality on the training pitch now.
Yeah, it's something I suppose that was out of our hands, and medically you can't argue with. I suppose people don't know more than us, but disappointing and frustrating because we're all itching to get back on the pitch. We're training like mad ourselves. Well, I suppose it's all tailored by Graham. But you have some heavy weeks and then some down weeks and stuff like that. So it's been good to have such a structure around us. But yeah, you want to be on the pitch. You want to be involved with other lads. And even if it is socially distanced, like it's going to be starting off, it's just a lot more ball work instead of doing stuff on your own. It can be a bit lonely sometimes doing that.
Yeah. It's hard to believe it's nearly 11 weeks. I think it's 11 weeks. Tomorrow night was the last game against Finn Harp. So it's been a long old slog, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has. Like if you think about the games we would have played by then, and you have your March and April and May, March and April loaded with games. Like so, usually you have nearly 2/3 of the league done by the start of June or the middle of June, and it's weird just going from I suppose what is usually a really busy few months to absolutely idle and twiddling your thumbs.
Yeah. Right, Garth, we'll dig into these questions. Great response across all our social media channels. At the end of it, you can pick what you think was the best question, and we'll get a signed picture out to whoever you pick. A nice, easy one to start off with. Who's your biggest sporting idol when you were growing up as a kid?
I was a Liverpool fan, but Roy Keane was it for me because I suppose Ireland and just everything he was, just loved him. That was a massive idol for me. Then after that, I suppose as you go on, it was Steven Gerrard and Richie Dunn, people like that. As I'm growing up, I'm loving watching them. So people like that, I suppose, are closer to home.
Any other sports? I know you're obviously into your basketball. I'm sure you've been watching the Last Dance. Was that era when you were growing up? Any basketball stars you really looked up to?
Yeah, that was it. So when I went into primary school, I would have think of breakfast basketball. So every day from first class to sixth class, played basketball from 8 to 9 before school. So it was that big, like for us. So yeah, that's the Last Dance. That Bulls era was my introduction to basketball. Obviously loved Jordan and all that team, but I suppose you got a glimpse of him at the end. Reggie Miller would have been someone, I suppose, when I started to have a clue more of a clue what was going on. Loved Reggie Miller. I suppose a similar sort of position to what I played in basketball. I loved him in basketball. People in other things, I suppose, as I grew up, you have different influences, I suppose, through different phases. I always probably get sick of Jim Steins after I read his book. He's a local fella, originally from Ballyroan or down that way near me. His book is phenomenal, sort of thing, and that would have been a motivation then, I suppose, my late teens, early 20s. So, different phases of life, you sort of idolise different people. But when I was younger, the likes of Michael Jordan, all the big basketball players, and then in football, like I said there, Keane was the one for me.
Yeah. You mentioned you supported Liverpool, so I think there's going to be a bad answer from my perspective coming this way. If you could play for any other team in the world outside of Dundalk, who would it be?
Yeah, I suppose supporting Liverpool growing up, it would have been Liverpool. But if you could pick internationals, it would be Ireland. That was it. Like that was the reason I loved Keane as well. Like his country before any sort of club. would have been me. So, but yeah, Liverpool and Anfield and everything like that. It's yeah, something that followed me all life. So, would have been nice.
Yeah. Question in from Stefan Mckevitt, former played with Dundalk back at the late noughties. If you could time travel back to meet your 18-year-old self, what's the one bit of advice you'd give?
I played with Steph myself. We played at
Monaghan.
Monaghan together. Yeah, he was right back and centre half. So we played a while together. I suppose if I'm honest here, I grew up in a different football to what it is now, and a big sort of thing I kick myself about, but is that I listened to all my coaches then, and I had some coaches that are old school and have probably gone out of the game now, and that's how football was then. But it was, just defend and clear your lines, kick the ball up the pitch. And believe it or not, like when I wasn't playing competitive football, I'm playing social football or even 11-a-side leagues that was outside your, I suppose, PDSL or League of Ireland. I was a completely different player, and it was because I had the shackles off in my head. I loved doing tricks, flicks, everything. Playing in midfield, up front, and stuff like that. And I suppose it was just this sort of fear of not making it or not doing what the coach told me that I followed all that. So I wish I had a bit more freedom in my head and creativity. And yeah, I took on board what coaches told me, but also realised the other side of things that it probably held me back a little bit in terms of football and ability. Because I had the ability there, but in my head I just couldn't release it. So yeah, I'd go back and tell my 18-year-old self to, I suppose, believe in yourself a bit more and show your worth, show what you can do, instead of just listening to do the basics, and that's enough.
Mm. You mentioned flicks and creativity. One of the questions, it's further on, but I'll ask it now. From Mark Kehoe, he was asking, would you prefer to score goals or keep a clean sheet? And would you have liked to be in a centre forward?
I don't know how to answer the first one. Clean sheets is brilliant, and being a defender, we say defenses win leagues. You need to have that foundation, but the feeling of scoring goals is it's just brilliant. And the bigger the better. The occasion, I don't have too many crackers in my locker or anything like that, but I suppose maybe because you're a defender and you wouldn't score them as much, that feeling's even better. But probably not what a defender should be saying, but scoring goals is just for everyone, for kids, everyone. It's just that buzz, that feeling. It's so good.
Leads in nicely to the next one. What's the most special goal you've scored for Dundalk?
The most special, hands down, is 2014. Comes down to final game. It's like a writer overs. It's writing a script. Final game against Kirk. We've dropped points, and now they only need a draw coming to our place, and we need to win after leading the whole league. They've gone ahead of us, and Stevie comes back, like I say, right or over. Stevie comes back out of the dead like the Undertaker, and puts in a phenomenal performance. Scores the first, sets us on its way, and to get the goal, I suppose the second goal in that game. It's just feeling that I'll never forget. The pictures, everything, the video of it. That's, I suppose, the most special one I've scored. Not the best, but the most special. I think I missed the question there. The number 9. What was the question? They said number 9.
Would you have liked to have been a number 9? Did you ever play as a number 9 as a centre forward?
Yeah, I did actually. Back, maybe it was under 13s or something like that. Like I said, I used to be all flicks and tricks, but my strength, I suppose, was I was good at reading the game, and at the back there, especially at a young age, if you have a head for reading the game and good defender sort of thing stuck in there. But I played up front in the DDSL Premier for one season or half a season with Leicester Celtic, and thought I was the bee's knees. Got Ronaldo, the real Ronaldo's boots, and all that sort of stuff. But I was slowly pushed back. But I still, the lads will say, I still think I'm a number 9 at times. Not often I stay at the back during 5-a-sides.
You mentioned your best goal. What do you think was your best goal?
I suppose my first goal in the league for Shells. Now it's probably completely wrong if I saw footage, but I scored a header on my debut at home in Tolka, and it was 13 minutes in or something. And to me, it was like I was that far up. My head was over there. It was about 12 yards out, and I'm at the back post, and I ended up top corner at the front post. Now, that's what I had, but I didn't see it go across. My head landed with my feet in the air, and I just saw the ball hit the net. Now there's no footage of it, so that's why the imagination's probably running wild. So in my head, I made that up to be massive, but I never got to see footage of it. But I scored a volley against Bows in 2016 in summer, yeah, just the end of summer. I think it was 2016. I think it was then, and yeah, I couldn't believe it. Corner came in and I caught it full on the volley. I don't know, about penalty spot or just out, and it was in a crowd, and full on the volley, rocking into the back of the net. But Curtis Byrne had to go and score an absolutely worldy of a Van Basten volley after that, and my thing didn't even get a look in. I don't think people remember that, right? So that to me is the only one. The rest are touch and finish and headers and stuff like that. So
they all count. All count. Yeah. Okay, question from Fintan Kieran. What did you know about Dundalk, the town, before you joined the club, and how has that changed since your time here? Well, obviously, personally for you, Dundalk's had a massive influence on your life, off the pitch as well as on the pitch.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I didn't know too much about the town off the pitch. A couple of friends from here, and Brown is taking the mick out of me here in the background. A couple of friends from here, and one would have got me fireworks every Halloween, a big black bag of them, one or two, and stuff like that for me and the lads down home. So probably not what people want me to say here, but I didn't really have too much off the pitch, because when I came in, before I was in here, I would have came in for games, and with Monaghan, the first few times I played here, and Shells, like, he's played on a Thursday night in the first division, and I remember the crowds compared to anything else in first division, even compared to a lot of grounds now, it was deadly. Like, it was proper football, and the buzz about it, and the crowd, and they were on your back. It was a proper hostile place to play for an away team. So yeah, it didn't know too much about that. I suppose Oliver Callan's little video as well. I think that was just before walking up Park Street doing that or whatever.
All changed now, of course.
Completely. Yeah, completely different. And yeah, I've grown to know it. I love it. I suppose bits of it I love is just that it's raw honesty, no airs or graces with people. Is what you see is what you get. So it's nice.
That leads in nicely to the next question from Alan Moore, and he wants to know why does your father-in-law, Pat O'Brien, have difficulty sleeping at night, Brian?
I thought he should know, actually, shouldn't he? I presume that's Alan Shannon's dad, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah. We'll say no more.
Yeah. Gary Moran wants to know, now that you're living in town, do you like McCormack sausages and Singlee curry?
McCormack sausages, I suppose I've never heard of, I've never had, so I don't know, I might be in hot water now saying that. I would have been Super Queen sausages were our shout down in Dublin. You can't be bet that good that when they changed the super value, they still kept the name Super Queen on them. So, but Singlee, there's a pot of it sitting there in the fridge. So yeah. Well,
you'll be inundated with McCormack sausages now when things go back to normal.
I'm gonna have to try them now.
Yeah, you have no choice. Colin Moran, good question. What League of Ireland player from your time at Dundalk do you think could have slotted into the team? Obviously, a player who hasn't played with Dundalk, but from your 6 or 7 years, is there one player you look back and think, yeah, he would have done well on our side?
An opposition player. Good question. Christy Fagan. And Christy, when you played against him, like, there's a lot of players I played against, and people rate, I suppose, and everyone has their opinion. But Christy just had something up here, like his touch and everything, but his movement. I remember one goal Pat scored against us. Might have been in 2013, and the ball's gone down their right wing, our left, and the cross is about to come in, and I'm running back towards my own goal, and I'm sort of, I had looked obviously on my right shoulder, and Christie's there, and he's making the run behind. So, and the ball's just be about thing, and just as that, so I go this way, and all of a sudden he's just pulled back, ball's back to him. He just knew by your body shape, he knew I had a look there, so I think he's going that way, and he's gone the opposite way, and he gets a finish in. He was so sharp, his intelligent runs, everything like that. Brilliant player, and really stuck to me that way. So I used to always say, I'd love for us to sign him after 2013, 14, whatever it was. Off the top of my head, I can't think of too many players, and I suppose the reason for that is, like, we've had such good quality in our team that there's not many I'd put anyone in ahead of. Christie would have been a different option to Kehoe, and that was the only thing. And then we signed Davy McMillan. So in the end, we signed just as good, if not better. And it shows having the two strikers, that the different techniques or different attributes, it paid off.
Yeah. I suppose that would Christie be the toughest player? There's a couple of questions in, or a couple of similar questions in, asking who's the toughest player you've played against, both at home and in Europe. So would Christie Fagan be the one at home? Yeah,
Christie would probably be one at home. Obviously, Sean Maguire had a great year here, good battles, but Christie would have been a standout to me. And in terms of, I suppose, physicality, in terms of the toughest, Mark O'Sullivan, myself and himself, we'd batter each other for 90 minutes or more. And literally, like, digs off the ball and shoulders and elbows and everything. But we'd just be smiling and having a crack after. It was what it was when you went across that line. Like, and even in the middle of the thing, you'd smile and have the crack. But if you got one up on him, or if he got one up on you, sort of thing. So you never had a second in terms of the physical battle. But yeah, Christie would be all round toughest that way. In Europe, Giuliano of Zenit is always a standout for all of us. Now, we played in the 10, so he wasn't directly up, but he'd be up on top of me and Andy at times, and then he'd be back in the 10 and in midfield, and just whether you go in after him, whether you don't, he had that perfect knack of getting that position where it's on a border for a centre half. Do you go out of position, or do you hold and let him get the ball in there, and then if he gets it, he turns and goes at you? And the other thing is, if you're not in on time, he turn on a sixpence. So he could roll your turn, and stuff like that. He was so sharp. He's probably the standout. But again, he was in the 10. In terms of the number 9s in Europe, Weghorst, the big tough lad for Alkmaar. He came on in the first game and he started the second game. His movement was much better than Freddie Friday. His movement was much better for a really tall lad. He was, off your shoulder. And again, the same thing. I think it was Zubov, or if he's called off, Zenit was up top the first game, and he didn't get too much joy. But the second game, myself and Andy thought Kirshkov, I think that's it. He's a bit of a veteran, a Russian number 9. And again, his experience of movement off your shoulder, you never had a second. He'd be offside, come back on the last second, stuff like that. But yeah, Giuliano has to be the top there in terms of, I suppose, he was playing attacking 10 or so. Yeah, quality.
Yeah, you posted that great picture of you and Nicholas Bentner at Oriel when we played Rosenborg in 2017. How did you we did okay against Rosenborg. You obviously scored over there. How did you find playing against him over the two legs?
Yeah, needed a few likes there during the week, so Bentner's always good to get that. Playing against him, yeah, good player, but I suppose nothing compared to the other European strikers. They're not putting him down, and I thought he was very good. But yeah, you could tell he used sort of confidence bordering on arrogance sort of thing. But you could see flashes of why he was at Arsenal. You know, different touches, different things. I think he turned me once in the home leg, and I just thought, right, well, you know, just have to be careful here. Obviously, you know, he was at Arsenal for a reason, and he is a big name player. So you know, there's quality there.
Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. A question from Siobhainn Fleming Kelly. Garth, obviously you're a new father. Little Bobby came into the world. Having recently become a dad, where do you see your long-term future, and do you think it will be in football?
Even the father-in-law didn't give me these questions. Yeah, obviously it all changes when you have kids. Well, you know, I've been planning anyway before we've had Bobby, but yeah, you sort of have to. Football's not a secure thing. You're my age rolling on 1 year deals. You need to look at down the line what you're going to do. So I obviously had the coaching with kids down in Knockline, the after school classes, and I was setting up. Well, I have set up a business, the Recovery Room. Give it a plug here, recoveryroom.ie.
There's a question there at the end for you. Don't worry, you can plug away.
Oh, is that?
Yeah.
So yeah, so it's a sports recovery business. So hopefully, you know, that takes off and does well and is successful. But yeah, I want to stay involved in football somehow, but I don't know what way it will be, if I'm honest. And you know, it's something I need to clear up my mind, and I am trying to over the last while is whether I can look at coaching, management, or the business side of football. That's something I'm interested in as well. And again, there's all things that weigh up that, and Browne and Bobby are a big thing in that, is that the last, say, 16 years, I've committed every weekend, no summer holidays, nothing for 16 years. I don't know if people know the sacrifice League of Ireland players make, is that we don't get weekends off. Well, not at Dundalk anyway, during the year. And if you do, it can be last second, so you don't even get a weekend away. And Browne has had to sacrifice that since, you know, we've been together. So yeah, you got to weigh that up as well. Is that sometimes, you know, would it be selfish for me to go straight into that? And the family have to, you know, I suppose we're giving up those type of sacrificing those weekends or time away or different things. Like, yeah, you miss every wedding, every event, everything like that. So that sort of comes into my head. But you know, it could be that when I finish playing, I want to keep playing for a long time. I feel like I'm in good shape to. But when I finish playing, that just step away from football for a little bit, and then, you know, look at a couple of other things and then go back to it after. But again, like saying that, football's infectious, so it's addictive, and sometimes you can't. So we just have to see when it comes.
Does management, do you look at management and think, you know, I'd fancy that, or do you look at it and think, nah, Jesus, way too much stress? Because even from speaking to Vinny, from going from being a number 2 to number 1, where you're responsible for nearly 25 players, you're responsible for staff, it's nearly a 24/7 thing where you can't switch off. Is that something you think you'd like to take on?
I suppose the reward has to be worth the work. That's how I look at it, you know. There's not, you know, if you go into management and that in this country, there's only a few jobs that are full time, really. And like you say, it's 24/7. And then in the off season, you know, you get a holiday, but you're still working. I know the players can go away for longer, but in terms of management, you're busier. You have even more work to do in terms of chasing down players, plans for next season, and everything. So yeah, it's listen, I always thought, up until, I'd say, a couple of years ago, I always thought I would have been into management straight after, and into coaching. But I'm unsure now. Not that I don't have a hunger for it, but again, the work and everything you do has to be worth the sacrifice of everything else. Or it has to be a reward, you know, because you're sacrificing so much. Like I said a minute ago, is that yeah, has to be worth it. But you know, if I'm away from football for a few months or a year or two, geez, I might be missing it so much. You know, you don't know how you're going to feel until that moment. So I'm just concentrating on keeping myself right, and I just want to play for as long as I can. I feel like I've got plenty more years in me, and yeah, I'm putting other plans in place so that, you know, we're secure if football does end, whether it's this year, next year, 3, 4, 5 years down the line, that I have options. And yeah, different. Maybe I can't take roles like that. Though.
Yeah. Well, I suppose one of the reasons you probably feel like you can play for, you know, a number of years to come is because of the sort of way you've looked after yourself, and especially that group that you've since 2013. It's been well documented that, you know, Dundalk have sort of brought things to a new level. There's a good question in saying, do you believe the standard of the League of Ireland has improved with the increased levels of preparation? And do you believe the gap between full-time and part-time is getting bigger each season because of it?
It's hard because, you know, sometimes you look back on the past with rose-tinted glasses in terms of, you know, it was better. Excuse me, the opposition was better and everything like that. But you know, I'm looking back in seasons past, say 3, 4 years ago, we're beating teams 3-0, 4-0, 5-0, 8-1, things like that. It hasn't happened in the last year and a half, 2 years as such. So I don't know. Maybe games are just getting a bit tighter, but the results are still staying the same in terms of the outcome. But yeah, there is a big gap in this country, and I suppose for football to push on, you know, you need to close that gap in terms of the top and the bottom to make the league more competitive, and with that will make it, I suppose, more appealing to neutral audiences and people like that. But yeah, the fitness, the standards, and everything like that, it's always raising and it's always going forward. And as you touched on, like our team back in 2013, 14, 15, and leading on, like it's, if I went into detail on that, like it's phenomenal the work lads did themselves off the pitch. Obviously, we had a fitness coach, and Graham gave us good programs, great programs, and he did work with us. But it was up to lads to, at the time, go off and do it yourselves. We didn't have gym sessions together. So yeah, if you went beneath the surface there and saw the lengths lads were going to, that's, I suppose, why we reached where we were.
Can you see it in the rest of the clubs that they're trying to have caught up, or they're trying to catch up on that sort of aspect of the game?
Yeah, completely. And I can see other clubs, and I know what, you know, a lot of other clubs are doing, and even the personnel they're hiring. You know, they're hiring. They're looking to recruit the best S&Cs, you know, top S&Cs, not just somebody that's willing to do it voluntarily or whatever. They're looking to get the best people in so that they get the best for their players. And then players are buying in, and players, I suppose, see it's a knock-on effect from the likes of ourselves and the conditioning we did 5, 6 years ago that wasn't common in this league. It is now common practice throughout with so many players. So yeah, you can see it, you know, progressing on that way.
Yeah, stuff. Here's a tough one for you. Who's the best centre back you've ever played with?
Gonna have to go for Bebop, haven't I? boy. We used to, someone used to call us, I think it's stuck with messing Bebop and Rocksteady, the two of us. And it's not a slight on anyone else. It just, you know, we went through all those years together that, you know, at the time that the two of us complemented each other so well, and such a good relationship that, you know, but after that, and you see the lads coming through, like lads we played with here, Paddy Barrett, like a wand of a right foot. A couple of the goals he scored as well were ridiculous.
Yeah.
Dan Cleary's so composed, and again, his passing, you know, his striking of the ball, his right foot is ridiculous as well. And Sean Hoare's just all round excellent in terms of, you know, his ability. He's so quick, his jumping, his left foot, right foot, yeah, everything. So there's been all the centre halves. It's funny, all the centre halves, especially at the club here, I've played with a completely, I suppose, different strengths, you know, in terms of characteristics. So usually I'd sit on the fence and I wouldn't pick someone, but I suppose what me and Boyle went through for years together, I'll have to give them the nod, and hopefully the other lads don't hold it against me.
Yeah, I think I might be wrong, and I'm sure people will correct me, but Boyler's obviously come back to the club, but I don't think that back four of Gannon, Boyle, Gartland, and Massey and Rogers have played together since 2016. Even though he's still at the club, I don't think he's played a game together
I think
since.
four out of the five might have played together a good bit.
We some nostalgia trip when the 5 years are out in the pitch for a game together when that happens.
Yeah, hopefully. I look forward to it anyway. Hopefully it happens.
Yeah. Who's the best centre half you've ever seen, Gart? From watching, who do you think? Who do you rate as the best?
From watching, Maldini, I just loved. I know he was left full originally, and people will say like the debate with Baresi, but Baresi was sort of, you know, before my time. I wouldn't have watched him, but I remember I used to watch Channel 4. We always watched growing up. All of us watched growing up, and the Italian football. Maldini was top class. Like, and then even like as a Liverpool fan, you know, they played against him a few times, and you know, he played to some age, and his defending was ridiculous, and then on the ball just so good. Yeah, so he was, I suppose, I probably should have said him, but I probably just didn't watch enough, you know, like I did like the Premier League when I said Kehoe earlier for the Idol. But in terms of best centre half when I was young and growing up, watching like Maldini was it.
That's a good answer. Yeah, I think a lot of people would agree with that. Kieran Callan wants to know, if you had the chance to play one game again, what would it be?
I suppose it's going to have to be Zenit away, you know. Just fucking coursing there and all, but when it comes into your head, you go through it, and it's just natural sort of thing, and you know, wrong decision in the wrong circumstances. But that's it. Sometimes you just play on impulse, and that's what had got me there, you know, and good performances in all the games so far, and that sort of thing. You know, one mistake, and at the back, that's what it is. It's one mistake, and you know, you're to the slaughter. But that would probably be it. That one sort of was such a big game for us. Yeah, that's that or last year's cup final.
Yeah.
You know, that, I suppose, yeah. If it was a selfish one in terms of, you know, making a mistake in the game, the Zenit one, but last year's cup final, I just think, you know, we didn't do ourselves justice, and even at that, you know, it ended up going to penalties, and it's a bit of a lottery, but I suppose that's that FAI Cup eluding, you know, a clean sweep.
Yeah.
That would be, changed my mind. Last year's cup final.
Did you think much? Did you over the winter and over Christmas? Did you think much about, you know, how close you came to winning everything, to sort of be, as you'd say, doing the clean sweep, becoming the first side to ever do it? Did you think much about it, or was it sort of done when you left the Aviva?
Yeah, I'd usually be one to, you know, what's in the past, you leave in the past. But there's a few things that, you know, have been harder to leave in the past, and it might take a little longer than other things. You know, you can't change what's happened, so you sort of have to get on with it. It does you no good. But yeah, that was one of the things that's, I suppose, lingered, and it still does. All the 3 cup finals we lost to. It's a real grudge of mine, is that, you know, we've 5 cup finals and we lost 3. 2 on penalties and 1 to a spawny last second of extra time goal. But that's what cup finals are. But I when you're so close, especially last year, it's if we had played well, thought we played well, and we got bet, and you know, and that, I suppose, I wouldn't have any of these feelings, sort of thing. But when I just think we didn't do ourselves any justice, and you look back and think we should have done this, I should have done that, I should have, different things. And yeah, it's the clean sweep. It's something that it will always be in the back of me there, and it took a couple of months there to, I suppose, get it out of my head.
Yeah. Good question in from Paula Higgins and Joanne Murphy, the two of them asking a similar question. Do you have any superstitions or routines that you'd follow before a game?
I'm a creature of habit as such that I'll try to do the same thing the whole time. And but if I don't do it, it's not going to put me off. My head won't be elsewhere, sort of thing. But I do exactly the same thing the majority of the time. But again, if it doesn't go the way it is, that we if it doesn't, train of thought there went, because I was thinking about a few of the lads, and if you knew some of them, of the lads,
that was going to be the next question. That was the next question.
Superstitious they could be. Yeah, if it doesn't go the way it is, it's not going to put me off. It's not going to, have me head upside down going into a game. But I like to do everything exactly how it is. So when I go in, in the dressing room, same sort of thing. In the warm up, same sort of spot in our lines in the warm up. Same order in terms of, like I said, in the next part of the warm up, same bit of the line. And then in terms of a little routine, I suppose the lads in the shed might notice that the two centre halves will warm up in front of them, doing a few headers and passes and stuff like that. And it will always be the same thing, same sort of routine. And again, not superstitious completely, but it's just, good habits, and we've got a winning habit at this club. So I try to think that if I keep doing all the same things, same right, it just keeps you comfortable, keep you confident, and you're not doing yourself any wrong. So good habits, equals success, I say.
Have you seen any strange rituals or superstitions over the years? You don't have to name the player or the players, but I'm sure you have seen a couple of strange ones.
One lad always has to walk out with a centre half for the warm up. Another fella, I don't know if he still does it. He probably does. He has to have a fresh pair of socks every game. Some lads about the order in the line. In terms of your warming up, the order of who's wearing that. Some lads are very strict on that. And again, if that gives people confidence, we all do it and row in and that sort of thing. But there's a few others just off the top of my head I can't say. But yeah, there's plenty of them in there.
Yeah. I mentioned earlier on as a chance for you now to plug. Eamonn O'Farrell wants to know what's your new business venture. And I don't think you'd mind me saying this, but Eamonn, I doubt whether you'll be partaking in recovery from sports. Might be recovery from a couple other things, but not from sport. But tell us all about it, Garts.
I'll have to throw him a few bob now for this. The recovery room. So again, like you alluded on earlier, that I'm really into me health, fitness, all that sort of things. So, even before I came to Dundalk, I loved every side of that in terms of the gym, and some lads will laugh at it and that sort of thing, but it's just who I am. So I suppose as I got older, and especially in 2016, my later 20s, I would have really looked at recovery. So in terms of, like, I used to train like hell, and I used to kill my body, and I used to pick up colds and a couple of infections or flus each year, and it was probably, I realised after, due to overtraining, overworking, probably not fueling my body enough, sort of thing. So as you get older and in this game, you realise, like, it's about, I suppose, being efficient in the work you do, and fueling your body right and stuff like that. But I suppose in my late 20s, I started my recovery, really focused on my recovery, after games, after trainings, on my days off, different things, whatever I felt my body needed it. And so it became a weekly thing, and it could be, some days be the day before a game, some days be the day after, or our day off on a Wednesday. In terms of ice baths, foam rolling, the back baller, then when that came out a few years ago, it was a better tool than the foam roller, I felt, and stuff like that. active recovery, and I learned as I went along, and I suppose by trial and error and using all the tools and all the different techniques. And then, out in Cullaville, Kieran Quinn there had the recovery room, and had the compression boots as well as the cold bath and the hot bath and that sort of thing. So that was then another thing a few years ago I added to my sort of thing, and I found it brilliant for recovery. So I opened up a recovery room in Dublin, all to do with sports recovery. So yeah, I spent the first couple of months of the year kitting out the room and doing work to it. Put in a lot of effort, a lot of time, and a lot of finance into it. So it was unfortunate that I had to close then a week after, or not even, for the lockdown. But in it has a lot of different tools in terms of massage guns, back ballers, resistance bands and stuff like that for activation of muscles, and a mobility area. It's on like artificial grass, and then a wet area up the back. Has a cold spa, so cryo spa, a lot of people would know it as. But we custom built it so that a lot of them only fit 1 or 2 people. It fits 4, so it'd be efficient for teams going through and for groups of people coming in together. With the jacuzzi, and then we have a small sauna, infrared sauna, and then the Normatec compression boots as well. So yeah, you go in and do a full session. It could take 50 minutes to an hour and all. It depends how much you want to spend in the mobility at the start, and then a certain time in each of it. But it took off great. A few days, we had a little soft opening in a few days, and it was really well. So it was just unfortunate this came. But hopefully when things open back up and kick on down the line with sports, that it will be successful. It's something, I suppose, I wanted to get into something I love and something, I believed in. And when I saw it, when I used it for years and it works for me, I just thought, listen, maybe this is what I go with. And there's nothing like it in Dublin. So hopefully it will get people through the door.
When are you hoping to reopen, or what phase would that be? Would that be in line with?
Yeah, I suppose I'm probably looking at phase 4, but it's hard. Like you said, there's a lot of it's open to interpretation. The framework. So with the recovery boots or the compression boots, I can space them out, people a couple of meters from each other, even put up partitions and stuff like that. It'll be a reduced service, so it might be 1 person into the bath or spa at a time. So it's sort of, I'm trying to get answers there in terms of the spa. It's probably the safest thing for it, because the chlorine levels are kept to a certain standard the whole time, so it kills off anything. But again, it's not my decision, sort of thing. So trying to open as quick as I can. And again, I've got to adapt it and do different things. So I'm going to have to get product sales and different things like that into it and on board to make up for the reduced service, and obviously for the, I suppose, the estimated numbers through the door is going to be down with sport down, and I suppose people are a bit slow to go back to things like this. So hopefully sooner rather than later, but at the latest, I'm thinking July.
You might have a bus from the Punters Golf Society, and Eamon and the boys will call in for recovery. Just last question, Garth, just a very important question. Eddie Coleman wants to know, when are you going to give him the 50 quid that you own back?
I tell you what, Eddie never gave me 50 quid, but I owe him a hell of a lot more than 50. The amount of favours he's done. Obviously his father lives across the road, and Eddie's been moving in. He was a great help to me here. A few things, I suppose, when you're new into town and you need a hand with a couple of things, Eddie was there, so I can't thank him enough. And more than 50 I probably owe.
Well, there you are, Eddie. It's on record now. He's not going to get out of it now. Garth, sounds brilliant. Listen, thanks a million for taking the time out. As I said at the start, we'll give a signed picture. Any of those questions that stand out?
I suppose the most testing was, what I'm going to do after football and what I go into management, and I can't remember who it was. I think that was all one question, wasn't it?
Siobhainn Fleming Kelly. We'll send I know Siobhaann's young lad's a huge fan, so we get you to sign a picture and get one out in the post for in the next the next week or two. That's the best one. That was the hardest one anyway for you to think about.
Yeah, it got me thinking, and it certainly got me thinking, what can I say here? You know, and sometimes footballers have to be, you know, you say just the right answer and the thing, but you know, I might as well be honest there and say I always thought about going into that, and you know, I'm unsure what direction. I obviously want to stay in football, but unsure exactly how and exactly what after. But you know, time will decide that for me.
Good stuff. Listen, as I say, thanks again for taking the time out. I hope people enjoyed that, and hopefully we see you back in Oriel in some capacity on June the 8th, and hopefully we see football back in some mean or form before the end of the summer.
Yeah, fingers crossed. We're all itching to get back. You know, we were all happy to go back on Monday just gone there. The club has great plans in place, and David Murphy had done like unbelievable work, you know, setting up COVID document for us and making sure that all protocols were adhered to. And it went far and beyond, you know, what I suppose was requested, but he was just looking after player welfare and staff welfare, everyone that was involved, sort of thing. So we were all happy to go back, but unfortunately that was pulled from us. But yeah, once we get back training, get back up and running, you know, dying for games, and whether it's a mini tournament or Europe or whatever's next, just can't wait for it. And before we go, thanks a million to everyone that sent in questions and responded to it there, and not too much dodgy ones either.
Yeah. Good stuff, Bart. Thanks a million.
Thanks a million.
Pretty apt time to leave it. Cheers. Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah.